This video lesson will walk you through how to write the equation of a line. A linear equation can be written in standard form of ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c represent real numbers. Another form of linear equation is y equals mx plus b, where m stands for the slope of the line and b stands for the y-intercept. This is the one we're going to use to write our linear equation. We can then rewrite the equation into standard form afterwards. How to write the equation. So to use y equals mx plus b, we need the two key pieces of information, the slope, m, and the y-intercept, b. How you get this information will depend on the problem that's given to you. In the following sample problem, they give us both pieces of information directly. So to write the equation of the line with slope of 3 and y-intercept of -6, we're going to use y equals mx plus b. We're going to substitute the given values into the correct locations in the equation. So we're going to plug in 3 for m and -6 for b, and you will get y equals 3x plus -6, which whenever we have a plus minus, we go ahead and just rewrite it as 3x minus 6. We may need to look for the information in a graph. Write the equation of the line shown in the graph below. We can see the slope on the graph by counting between 2 points where the line crosses at integer marks on the graph. I've marked 2 points here with little blue dots. One it is at -2, 2, and another at 0, -1. So I can count on the graph, or I can use the slope formula to get the slope. So if I were to count on the graph, I could start here at the first dot, and I'm going to draw down until I am across from the next blue dot. So that's a down, that's going to be -3. Then when I move over to the right, I'm going to be moving 2 units, and that's going to be +2. So the slope is -3/2. I can also see from the graph that the y-intercept is -1 because I can see it visually right on the graph right there. So the equation of my line is simply y equals -3/2 minus 1, because I've simply plugged in the slope and the y-intercept into y equals mx plus b. Not given the y-intercept? If you have the slope but do not have the y-intercept, you can still find the equation of the line as long as you have at least one point that is on the line. You can either use the slope-intercept form, which is again y equals mx plus b, or you can use what's called the point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times parentheses x minus x1. So let's start with a sample using the slope-intercept form. So the first thing I need to do is I need to find the slope. So I'm going to take my 2 points, and I'm going to use the slope formula to calculate it. Again, it does not matter which point I start with, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the first point as my x2, y2. So I'm going to start by taking 6 minus 5, so there's my difference in y, over 3 minus, now watch out here, that's minus -2. So as I simplify this, I get 6 minus 5 is 1, and 3 minus -2, which becomes 3 plus 2, is 5. So my slope in this instance happens to be 1/5. So now that I've got my slope, I need the y-intercept. Now using the slope-intercept form, I can actually take and plug in my slope for m, but I want to solve for b. So instead, I'm actually going to take the y and the x, and I'm going to substitute in one of my 2 points. Again, doesn't matter which one, we'll get the same answer no matter what. So again, I'm just going to randomly pick the first one. So my y value is 6. My x value is 3. So I'm going to have 1/5 times 3 plus b. So now I'm going to simply do my math here. So we have 6 is equal to 3/5 plus b. So I do have a little fraction work that I need to do because I'm going to be subtracting 3/5 from both sides. So it doesn't hurt to review a little bit of fraction work. If I want to change 6 into an improper fraction with a denominator of 5, I'm going to basically say, okay, 5 times 6 is 30. So 30/5 minus 3/5. And that gives me 30 minus 3, 27/5. So my b value is equal to 27/5. So my formal equation I can now plug in is y equal to 1/5 x plus 27/5. Now we're going to complete a sample using the point-slope form of the equation. So we're given 2 points. So let's go ahead and find our slope first. So I will start with the second point, and I will have 4 minus 6. And then my x's would be -2 minus 2. 4 minus 6 is -2. -2 minus 2 is -4. So that's a positive 2/4, which reduces to positive 1/2. So there's our slope. So now we need to get the equation of a line. We have our slope and we have a point. So we're going to go back to using this formula, the point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm going to pick either of these 2 points to be my x1, y1. I'll go ahead and grab the first one. So I'm going to take y minus and then replace the y1 with 6. Replace my slope with 1/2. Replace my x1 with the x from that same point, so that's 2. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my algebra and arithmetic. So y minus 6 equals 1/2 x minus, well, 1/2 times 2 is 1. Now I need to add my 6. So I get y by itself. Y is equal to 1/2 x plus 5. And in this example, I'll go ahead and show you a way that you can write it in standard form. I would simply move my 1/2 x to the left, so I could have -1/2 x plus y equals 5. And that would be in standard form because I have x and y on the same side. If you wanted to write it in standard form without fractions, if you remember the rule that as long as you multiply every term in an equation by the same number, it's an equivalent equation. So what if I did multiply everything by 2? I would have -x plus 2y equals 10. And that's going to be the exact same equation, just written in a slightly different form. Let's take a look at another sample. Let's write the equation of a line that is parallel to the line with slope 8 and passes through -1, 3. So my new line that's going through -1, 3 has a slope that's related because it's parallel. Now, because the 2 lines are parallel, that means they'll have the same slope. So my new line has slope 8 and goes through point -1, 3. So again, I can use either the y equals mx plus b form or the point-slope form. I'll go ahead and use y equals mx plus b on this sample. So I'm going to take the format y equals mx plus b. So my slope-intercept form, I'm just going to plug in all my numbers. So for y, I'm going to plug in 3, slope 8, my x -1, and that's going to get me my y-intercept. So doing the arithmetic, 3 is equal to negative 8 plus b. Add 8 to both sides, and b is equal to 11. So now I have my equation. Y equals, my m is 8, x plus 11, which is my y-intercept. Let's do one more sample. So in this case, we're going to write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the line with slope negative 5 and passes through to 0. So now we're dealing with the idea that we have a perpendicular line. So the original line has a slope of negative 5. My new line is perpendicular to the old one, so the new line has to have a slope that is the opposite reciprocal of negative 5, or a number that when multiplied by negative 5 would give me negative 1. So the reciprocal of 5 is 1/5, and the opposite of a negative number is a positive number. So I have my slope of my new line is 1/5. It passes through the point 2, 0. So this is an x-intercept, not a y-intercept. So I'm still going to have to do a little work for this. But I can use either the slope-intercept or the point-slope form. For this one, let's go ahead and try using the point-slope form. Again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So plugging my numbers in, I have the point 2, 0, so y minus 0 equals 1/5 times x minus 2. Go ahead and do the arithmetic. Well, y minus 0 is y. Distribute the 1/5, so 1/5 x minus 2/5. And there it is in slope-intercept form. Now, if you have a homework assignment that's requiring you to put it into standard form, let's go ahead and move our x over. So I'm going to subtract it from both sides and get negative 1/5 x plus y equals negative 2/5. And if you're required to put it in standard form so that there are no fractions, we're going to multiply by the LCD, which happens to be 5. So we're going to multiply each of the three terms by 5. So this first one, 5 times negative 1/5, is going to be negative 1x. 5 times y is 5y. And negative 2/5 times 5 is negative 2. So that is in standard form without fractions.